Hello everyone. Now this is my video on Lent, but before I do that, I want to quickly mention something that I forgot in my last video. It was about Epiphany. I forgot to mention the first Sunday after Epiphany is the baptism of Jesus, so sort of the time after Epiphany sort of begins with the baptism of Jesus and ends with the Transfiguration, at least in the church that I go to. I found out that other churches do Transfiguration Sunday during different part of the year. I heard some do it during the summer. But anyway, on to Lent. This is possibly my favorite part of the church year. And it's a very special part of the church year for me. And it's always been very life-changing for me. And my first time observing Lent was when I went from holding the more traditional Christian views to embracing the progressive views that John Shelby Spong held. And I really opened my mind. And this basically when I stopped holding the more supernatural beliefs, holding the more literal beliefs in all the myths. And last year during Lent, it was when I went from having pantheism as kind of my thing to fall back on, when I fully embraced pantheism and really, wow. And this year, I hope to go on another journey and to learn new things. And I mean, I'm always on a journey, but I think Lent is a time where we're always on a journey, but it's like, let's look at a lot of the Lord of the Rings story. I mean, it's like, I would say Lent is kind of the part of the story where the hobbits are traveling from Hobbiton all the way down to Mount Doom. And so Lent is kind of that journey, but then there's also the journey home where more things happen, the crowning of Aragorn, things happen then. And so Lent is kind of the journey, sort of the big part of the journey, the journeying part. And I would say Holy Week is kind of the climactic point. And I mean, a lot of people give things up for Lent. I am giving up a lot of things. The things I'm going to mention here in this video are Bible reading and reading books on progressive Christianity. During Lent, I'm going to be reading a couple of books by Sam Harris. I'm going to be reading a book by Victor Stenger on how science and religion are completely incompatible. Before reading it right now, I disagree with him, but my views might change. Today, I started reading The Christ Myth Theory by Robert N. Price. And after I'm done with those books, I'm planning on reading Pagayan Cosmology by Glennis Livingstone and The Spiral Dance by Starhawk. So I'm reading books of other perspectives. I also give up a lot of things for Lent. And, I mean, a lot of the things I give up basically to help myself improve as a person, but I think overall the important thing is to also better yourself for the larger community and for others, I think is. And Lent is, I mean, I was talking about Epiphany as, we're like, please me, when I'm thinking in terms of Beatles albums, or Led Zeppelin's first album when thinking Led Zeppelin albums, or as opposed to albums like the White Album or Sgt. Pepper in the case of the Beatles, or Led Zeppelin's fourth album in the case of Led Zeppelin. I mean, Lent is Sgt. Pepper. Lent is the White Album. Lent is, I mean, it's the big part. I mean, to me at least. And it's 40 days, go on a life-changing journey to improve yourself. I also want to point out that there are atheists and other non-Christians who have observed Lent simply because doing something, giving something up for 40 days can possibly help you better yourself, I think. And, yeah, and also something I heard that there's sort of a theological idea that Sundays are technically not Lent, even Sundays during Lent, the things you've given up, you don't have to observe Lent during Sundays because Sundays are supposedly the always celebrations of Christ's resurrection. I don't like that idea. I think when you commit yourself to doing something for 40 days, you should do it without a break. But for some people it might be better, but the point is to improve yourself, and taking a break from working on improving yourself, to me, is like, nah, I disagree. And I also think of Holy Week as a part of Lent, but I am probably going to make a separate video for Holy Week. Lent is a very special part of my life. Because of things that I decided to do for Lent, and that happened to me during Lent, that, this channel even exists. To me, Lent is a very special part of the church year, and it's a time of both self-improvement and improvement for others. Thank you for watching. Shalom.